stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money, money, money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money, 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 money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
This bill will fight inflation. And when I say that, that's not just me as a representative. Hold on, this is very important, Chris. 17 Nobel Prize-winning economists have signed a letter talking about how the president's pro-family policies in this package will help fight inflation.
Really? The geniuses, the Nobel Prize people. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. They know everything. Let me tell you about the Nobel Prize, how it works. It's all political. It's all political. So he's saying this bill, this 1.7 trillion bill, that's going to kill small businesses, that's going to kill this country. Inflation's going to go through the roof. Are you kidding me? Hey, I like a lot of these programs. Boy, they'd be great. But I like a lot of things in life. Your kids like a lot of things in life, but you can't give it to them. I mean, here it's like these are kids asking for everything. And we just say, like a parent, okay, you can have it all. This is nuts. I like some of this stuff, but we can't afford it. You know how you have to say to your kids, I'm sorry, we can't afford it. We just can't do it. You got to go out and get a job. See, that's what gets me. Why aren't we focusing on jobs? If you focus on jobs, you don't have to give all this stuff away. You don't have to do this. This destroys your economy. You're disincentivizing work with all these programs. This is crazy. Unbelievable. So let's talk about the Nobel Prize. First of all, let's go back to Larry Summers. He failed to mention that. Larry Summers came out, and Larry Summers said, no, this is going to be brutal. This is going to be brutal. Your plan, okay, is not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to take care of our inflation problems. I mean, this is crazy what he's saying. Listen to what he says.
This bill will fight inflation.
This bill's all inflation. What do you mean fight inflation? You know how you fight inflation? Just like Carter did. You have to raise taxes. You got to raise taxes. Right now, they're saying our inflation's 5%. It's a bold-faced lie. Our inflation, real inflation, is 13 to 15%. The same it was with Carter, going back in the 70s. And they had to fight that inflation. It kills you. Kills your standard of living, just kills you. Can't be competitive. They had to raise rates, and they did, from 10 to 20%. They finally broke the back of inflation. That's what you have to do to break the back of inflation. You got to raise rates. But see, they don't want to raise rates, because they know if they raise rates, we'd go into a deep depression. So Larry Summers says, he's the Democrat, remember? He was Obama's boy. And he's saying, Buttigieg and the rest of them are nuts. They're all nuts what they're saying. They're lying. So let's get back to the Nobel Peace Prize. It's handed out by a committee selected by the Norwegian Parliament, right? Now, Norway is they're very conservative, and they award the Peace Prize only to people whose countries are members of NATO and are beneficial to U.S. foreign policy. Now, let's go to Obama. They gave Obama the Peace Prize in 2009 for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. Well, the problem for the committee, according to former member Annie Agar, Obama wasn't in office long enough. He was in office a few months. They had a problem. He didn't do anything in those few months to strengthen any international diplomacy. In fact, the first few months, what he focused on was drones. He increased orders, more drone strikes, more drone killings. That's all he did when they gave him this prize. So it was very embarrassing for him, according to this Ann Egger, who's on the board, and that he did more strikes even than Baby Bush, killed more people than Baby Bush. It turned out to be the single biggest embarrassment for the Nobel Prize Committee, according to her, because it was clear to the world Obama did nothing to win the prize. And quote, Norway was just sucking up to the first black new president who was enormously popular. That's why he got that prize. The point is that he's saying that these Nobel Prize winners are geniuses? Come on, give me a break. In 2013, they awarded the Nobel Prize Peace to the OPCW, Organization Prohibiting Chemical Weapons. Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, sorry. Now, they awarded the OPCW, this organization, for monitoring and dismantlement of chemical weapons in Syria. So political, this Nobel Peace Prize, who gets it? They didn't award it to any one person. They didn't award to anyone who negotiated the end of the chemical weapons in Syria. Syria itself, for abolishing these chemical weapons, that they didn't give a prize for that. So what they did is they gave the prize to this OPCW. They got the prize but what they found out, this organization, OPCW, after they gave him the award or nominated him, they were incapable of even monitoring the one thing they were designed to do. So they got an award all based on politics. It was all political. So the OPCW couldn't even do the job they were set out there to do in Syria, and yet they got this award. My point is, it's all political nonsense. So I don't want to hear about that. But let's go back to what's going on with the 1.75 trillion spending bill. This is nuts. This is nuts. Now, if you go through the bill, okay, first of all, let's think about this. Remember, the economy booms when you slash taxes, because it gives entrepreneurs and businesses an incentive to take risk, to invest. But when you raise taxes, it takes the risk, it takes the incentive away. Who found that out? Bill Clinton. Remember Bill Clinton? He did the same thing. He raised corporate taxes, and he raised all kinds of taxes, and then he finds out that the tax revenue was cut big time. So wait a minute, where's all my tax revenue? Well, Mr. President, you raised taxes. You raise taxes, and that's what happens when you raise taxes. So he turned around and he cut taxes. He was smart enough to cut taxes, and revenues came flying in. So they're going to now take the corporate tax rate and go from 21% up to 28%. When they know that Bill Clinton, when he did that, we had less revenue coming in. And when you take individuals and you start taxing them on their capital gains, they're not going to invest anymore. That kills the economy. What makes this economy so great in this country is entrepreneurs are willing to take a risk. They're willing to take a risk if you can make money. That's what makes America great. That's how we built this country. It's how they built the West. You take a risk, you have a reward. These people don't want you to have a reward. They want the government to build the country. This is insane what's going on. So what stocks do you get in? I'll talk about those stocks when I get back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Welcome back to Phil's Gang. What's the difference between an investment banker and a ghost? When a ghost jumps out the high-rise window, it floats. Now here's Phil.
Because the country needs it. You look at the need for action on climate before it's too late. You look at the need to support our economy for the long run, to make our economy more competitive, to deal with issues like inflation, which will benefit. We will have better tools for fighting inflation if we pass this economic package.
The economic package, better tools to fight inflation? It's creating the inflation. It's not fighting inflation. He's a liar. He knows it. Everybody knows it. You dug up J.P. Morgan, he'd second the motion. This is a big inflationary bill. Are you kidding me? Just to take corporate tax rate and move from 21 to 28%. Are you kidding? What are you, nuts? This is crazy. Just take the top marginal income rate, raise it from 37 to 39.6%. That really kills small businesses. That hurts small businesses. Because remember, the individual income tax code gets impacted because businesses that operate as most, like my business, operates as a pass-through. So you get all the business income or losses are reported on your personal income tax. So this, raising the tax on small business, is a killer. It's a killer. That's called inflation. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He does, but he has to sit there and lie. 1.75 trillion spending tax bill is going to create such inflation. Matter of fact, we're getting to a point of stagflation. And when this finally gets passed and gets into the system, you can laugh, but you better start looking at gold and gold mining stocks. Going to go crazy. You think your Bitcoin going crazy. Gold, mining stocks. I think silver is going to be big time, but it's got to get into the system first. They haven't even passed the stupid bill yet. Now think what they're spending. $555 billion on climate policies. This is what they're thinking is important? Are you kidding me?
The best thing we can do for our economy in the short term and to deal with these transitory issues is to put the pandemic behind us, which is where the president's decisive leadership is so important. The best thing we can do for the long run for issues around pricing in the supply chain is better infrastructure so the goods can move smoothly in this country, and better pro-family policies like childcare.
Well, he has that right down, doesn't he? It's all a bunch of nonsense. Here, listen what he says in the beginning.
The best thing we can do for our economy in the short term and to deal with these transitory issues is to put the pandemic behind us, which is where the president's decisive leadership is so...
Oh, yeah, his decisive leadership. Yeah, boy, his decisive leadership is really going to solve this. Yeah, his decisive leadership. Like, he gets up there and he's lying to the people. He knows he's lying to the people. And the president, his ratings are going down to the cellar because we have a lousy president. He's doing nothing. He's doing nothing. He's running over to Glasgow to talk about climate change. Let me ask you, when you get around the table at the end of the month with your checkbook, you and your wife, do you talk about climate change? What are you, nuts? If I started talking to my wife about climate change at the end of the month, we'd get our bill, she'd hit me in the head with a pot. Are you kidding? Imagine sitting there with your wife and you're talking about your bills and you're trying to make your bills, meet your bills, and all of a sudden you say, hey, hon, I think it's time Buddha-bug, Gucci Buddha-bug wants us to talk about climate change. My God, how stupid. In fact, what drove me crazy the other day, I was watching the interview with him. And he was on, what program was it? It was on Fox News Sunday. And Chris Wallace asked him a question about, this is what was the biggest thing on Chris Wallace's mind. Here we got this terrible situation of border. We got inflation going through the roof. We're at stagflation. The only people making money are the wealthy. And all the problems we have in this country, look what people are paying for food. Look, gasoline prices doubled. Look, go buy a car. You know what I'm talking about. And here is his biggest mind. This is what's going on in his mind. This is his biggest question to Budabug.
Your twin children, Penelope and Gus, are they going out tonight for Halloween? And if so, how will they be dressed?
So Chasten, my husband, found costumes that it's kind of like a traffic cone. It's a little bit hard to describe, but bottom line is they're going to be dressed up as infrastructure, and I can't wait.
Your twin.
Can you imagine this guy on Fox? What the heck's his name? Chris Wallace. His father is rolling over in his grave, Chris Wallace, taking precious time on TV to ask serious questions. How do we fix this economy, Budabug? And instead he asked about the twins. Unbelievable, isn't it? $101.75 trillion for crazy stuff. $555 billion. He's going to repeal the oil industry tax breaks. Is he nuts? He's already killed our pipelines. Look at the price of gasoline. We're going to be at $6, $7 if this thing goes through. He's repealing the oil industry tax. You know what that means? He's cut oil and gas drilling in our federal lands. We can't compete anymore. We have to beg Russia and the Saudis, who hate us, for more crude oil. This is crazy. And he's going to boost renewable power. He wants. Do you think people are sitting around their table and talking about electric vehicles? Budabug's here saying, well, we need this because every person's going to buy an electric vehicle and they're going to save $13,000. Only 2% of people in this country drive around in an electric vehicle. It's crazy. But this is what's on their mind. This is important, the electric vehicle. And what these kids are wearing for costumes. What the hell's going on? We'll be back with a lot more and some stocks.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. Welcome back. Learn, invest, and make profits with Phil Grande. Simply go to philsgang.com. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Join my gang free, 877-600-GANG. That's free for 10 days, and you get my color-coded chart as well, free. 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. And for the first time, you're going to learn when a stock goes the other way, starts going down, starts going against you, all you have to do is switch your position and make money as it goes down. 80% of people don't do that because they put in your brain the do not short, do not short. The reason why they did that is because they don't make money when you sell a stock short. Wall Street makes money when you buy. When you buy a stock, when you say sell it short, they don't make money. So they've always lied to you. It's how dangerous it is, how bad. No, it's dangerous if you do not short a stock. Now, people keep asking me over and over and over, Phil, you keep saying the market's going to crash, but I don't see it crash. You kidding me? The reason you're not seeing it crash, you're seeing it extended because they keep on doing QE. Remember, when we have inflation like this, every other president raised rates. Every president raised rates to fight inflation. This president won't raise rates. That's what keeps the market moving. It's called quantitative easing. But what's happening is the rich are getting much richer. The poor are getting squeezed. So as long as the rich are getting richer, you got to stay in the stocks that keep moving this market forward. We have our gang member in those stocks. We always have them in those stocks. All they're doing is extending the bubble. They're making it bigger and bigger because they do not want to raise rates. Raise rates would kill them. And you got to raise rates. It's the only thing that stops inflation. And so you had to pay in 1 year. Gasoline has doubled in 1 year. Look at your food prices. Consumer prices have rose the fastest in 30 years. This is what's going on. That's why the market is not going down. For October, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Dow, on average, went up 6.5%. 6.5%. Why? Because they won't raise rates. They won't fight inflation. They keep lying about the inflation, and they won't fight it. Because here's what they need to know. They know. They have to. They want this inflation. They want this inflation. Because remember, the more we have an inflation, that dollar, our currency, becomes less valuable. And that's how they're going to get this bill passed. Because remember, you only got two people that were actually more than two people, but the two people that are fighting this bill on the Democrat side, they're saying this is nuts. This is crazy. This bill's too expensive. We can't afford this. It's all good stuff in there. I mean, it is. It's all good stuff. I mean, making child care affordable for every child, that's terrific. That'd be great. Getting preschool for every child in this country, terrific again. I mean, climate, get rid of this garbage climate, that's great too. How about getting insurance? Getting our insurance costs down. How about getting our prescription drug prices down? That's all great too. But at what price? At what price? To make the socialists in this country happy? Are you kidding me? It's great. $150 billion will go to helping the poorest families afford homes and rent. We're going to be paying. We're going to print money or borrow it, $150 billion, so that we can go to the poorest families in your town and get them a home and get them rent. We're going to pay for their house. We're going to pay for their rent. We're going to print another $400 billion, Okay, another $400 billion to include everything from home care aids. We're going to have cooking. That's right. We're going to cook for people. It's right. They don't have to cook anymore. You go on welfare, they send you a cook. Take care of your hygiene. They're going to do all these programs for you. If you're if you have disability, they're going to take care of you. That's great. I'm for that. I'm for that. 400 billion. I'm for that. 150 billion. I'm for that too. That we can give poor family a home, give them rent. Gee, I'm for the 20 billion for the green stuff. Yeah, I'm for that too. How about the 320 billion for the tax credits for companies? That's great too. That's great. And we're gonna all the solar and the wind and nuclear. We're gonna do all that. Wow, 105 billion. We're going to go in and we're going to make sure there's no more extreme weather. We're going to clean up diseases, the chemicals. Boy, we're going to do all this stuff. Isn't that great? I mean, I'd like to have a new car. I'd like to have a new house. I'd like to have a new pool. I'd like to have a new plane. I'd like to have... That's great too. But you can't afford it. But see, this country, and you get the liberals like we got the socialists, they say, oh yeah, we can afford it. We got what they call the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve. They're going to print all this money for us, the Federal Reserve. Well, you know who was smart about the Federal Reserve? When they first came out in 1907 for the Federal Reserve, remember they had the financial panic, the banks started to go down, and then all of a sudden J.P. Morgan stepped in, and he got Rockefeller and Rothschild and Morgan and Wahlberg and Astor. They all sat at a meeting in his office. And they said, we can't let all these banks go down. They went and they stepped in, and they stopped they stopped all the good banks from going down. They backstopped them. And then another year later, they go in and they go up to have a meeting. They'll go have a meeting in Georgia, at Jekyll Island. Jekyll Island is a club just for millionaires. There's 800 wealthiest people in the country go to this club. They're members of this club. And they decide, we got to have a central bank. We got to have a central bank. But the people said no. Back then, the people were smart. They knew, because most of our population came from Europe, where they despised European central banks. They first had the first bank, Amsterdam. The second was England. They despised them. They had great mistrust of them. They lived through them. They're terrible. They kill you. They kill the small person. They hate the small person. They hate the common man. And they only benefit the elitist class. It's still going on today. They knew that. And they had a hell of a time getting this through. Well, today nobody knows what the central bank is. But those people who came over from other countries and who settled here were immigrants back then. They knew. It was no good. They knew. So, yeah, we'd like to have all this stuff. But why don't we try it another way? Why don't we start taking our money to companies and force them to put the money back into business investment? No more stock buybacks. Put the money back into business investment. And that way, if we put money, they are forced to put money in business, we don't need all this stuff. If you create jobs and people are getting good income, get back to pension funds and get rid of this crappy 401k, we don't need all this. Our great-grandparents didn't need it. Our grandparents didn't need it. Our parents didn't need it. They didn't have all this stuff. And look how they built this nation. Now you want Gucci goo telling us we need all this stuff? What are you, nuts? So, this is crazy. Let's go back and do it the old-fashioned way. Earn it. Work for it. I'll be right back with some stocks.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. Welcome back. Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
That's 877-600-GANG or 877-600-4264. I put together a new group of stocks called my Stocking Stuffers for the holiday. And why don't you join the gang free for 10 days? And you can watch us work these stocks, and then you can make a decision if you want to join the gang or not. You got 10 days to make that decision, no cost. And you'll see every day how we work the color-coded chart to your benefits. So no longer will you be part of the 80% who lose money. 80% of you lose money because you don't know how to get out of your stock when you're making money. You don't know when to get out of your stock. But here's the bad thing. When the stock starts going south, you don't know how to get out, switch your position, take advantage of the stock going down. So I have a nice group I put together called my Stocking Stuffers. So that'd be a good thing for you as a start. And for, again, just call 877-600-GANG or 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. 10-day free trial. You have access to all our classes, you have access to all our site, and you get the color-coded chart free. It works. And the color-coded chart's fantastic because it tells you when to buy, when to sell, when to add. It's a color-coded. It's technology that we patent. We're the only one that has it. It works. And have fun. You know when you have fun in the stock market? When the market goes down and you're making money when the market goes down. And in 10 days, I'm not going to sell you. You're going to sell yourself over that 10-day period. You say, God, I wish I did this long ago. That's all you got to do to make money when the market goes down? Yeah, that's all you got to do. Really easy. And every day, we even make it easier. We take our portfolio stock, and Steve, head of our education department, every day he takes our portfolio. This is our actual portfolio, investment portfolio, and he tells members, he goes through each stock telling them what to do based on the color code. Does anybody do that for you? Here, listen.
Intel continued to hold this one short. Now, we took some profits on Friday, and we're just going to...
So he explains Intel, then he goes on to the next stock and the next stock. Look, what is going on right now? If they pass this bill, and they will, you have no idea. You know, this guy, Buttigieg, all he talks about, if they just take care of child care, everything's going to be fine. Everything's about child care with him. If you give us $600 billion for child care and for the universal pre-kindergarten, and you get another child tax credit, it's all he talks about, and everything's going to be fine. He says the reason. Well, here, listen to what he's saying. This is stupid.
We have a drag on our economy in labor supply because a lot of parents aren't going back to work because they can't find child.
No. They're not going back to work because of you and your administration. They're not going back to work because everything you're laying out in that socialist plan is it disincentivizes work. That's what you've been doing. That's what all of you have been doing. For God's sakes, going all the way back to that first $1,400 check. Going back to that $1,400 check. You're telling people not to work. And that's this whole program is telling people, why go to work? We're going to pay you $3,600 per child. Don't go to work. We're going to give you 8 other welfare programs. We're going to pay for your house. We're going to pay for your rent. We're going to pay for everything. Why go to work? That's right. That's what's going on. People are excited. They don't have to go to work. You see what happened in California? I think it's Chicago's the other place. Now they give people every year now they're going to get income, universal income. They get a check every month. And soon that's what Buttigieg and the rest of them are going to do, give everybody a check. What, they think this money just falls off of trees? This is crazy. So, what we got to do before the market crashes, let's keep making money because they're going to keep forcing the stock market up. Why aren't you in the market? Look what we've been doing. We've been doing great with our Home Depot, our Target, our Lowe. These are discretionary stocks. You want to be in discretionary stocks. We've got there's a group I put together. It's called the Cloud Group, and it will make money because of the supply problem. We have a group of stocks that makes money because of the supply problem. This is what you got to do. Does anybody do this for you? No, of course not. And the other thing right now is you want to stay out of those big tech stocks until you know for sure, okay, that the yields are going to stay below 160 basis points. Now, we have some stocks, we're in the big tech stocks, but we're being careful. Because remember, you got either the tech stocks going up or down, you got the bank stocks going up or down, and you got the oil stocks going up or down based on where the 10-year treasury yield is. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have the experience with that. And we're here every day starting at 4 in the morning, making sure our members are in the right group, based on the games they're playing with the yields, with the treasury bond yields. But if you know what you're doing, it's no big deal. So for the first 10 days, we hold your hand. You have our portfolio, our actual portfolio, and you see every day what we do. But again, going back to this guy, all he talks about is the child care. Everything's going to be set with child care.
The best thing we can do for our economy in the short term and to deal with these transitory issues is to put the pandemic behind us, which is where the president's decisive leadership is so important. The best thing we can do for the long run for issues around pricing in the supply chain is better infrastructure so the goods can move smoothly in this country, and better pro-family policies like childcare.
Yeah, the best thing. Here he goes again. Here's another childcare.
We have a drag on our economy in labor supply because a lot of parents aren't going back to work because they can't find childcare. We have
that's what he wants to. So his answer is, why don't we just print or borrow $600 billion and we'll just give everybody child care? I'd love it. We got to go back to what we used to do. Work for it. Work for it. If you create jobs we've stopped creating jobs in this country in 2013. Because once everybody started to go crazy with quantitative easing, buying your own shares, reduce the number of shares you got outstanding, your stock is fake. It goes up fake, keeps going up fake, all fake, and people are making a fortune. This is what they've been doing since 2013. Started in 2008, but by 2013, it's out of control, called stock buybacks, called QE. That's why the market keeps going up, and you got to be in the right stocks. And you got to know which stocks to be in based on what they're doing with this program, based on inflation. And we do know what we're doing. And check it out for 10 days. So we got the stocking stuffers, and we also make sure that, and I talked about my members this morning, there's certain ETFs you want to watch every day. You want to watch your XLK, which is your big tech ETF. You want to watch your energy, XLE. And you want to watch your XLY, which are your discretionary stocks. And if you watch those every day, and you got your sell signals, sell and buy signals with a color-coded chart, you're going to make money. You're going to make money consistently. But then you're going to be ready when the market crashes. This market's going to crash. It's been delayed because they will not raise rates to fight inflation, because they want the inflation so they can keep driving down the debt. Because they got so much opposition to this new $3 trillion, was $5 trillion. They got such opposition to spending $3 trillion when we can't afford it. We have no money. We're broke as a country. That even some of the Democrats are saying, no, we can't afford this. And so they're thinking, well, then look, what we got to do to get this through, let's keep on creating this inflation. Let's get the value of the dollar down. That'll push down the debt we owe to China and the debt we owe to Japan. That'll automatically push it down because we'll just devaluate the dollar. If the dollar keeps devaluating, then we owe them less money. But wait a minute. They're also devaluating the money in your 401k. They're devaluating the money that's set aside for your kids to go to college. They're screwing you. That's what that is. That's what that is. When there is inflation, remember, every time there's inflation, they're stealing from you to pay down their debt. That's why they want to see inflation go to 15, 20%, and they're not going to raise rates. So you got to be in those stocks that make you the money that makes up for that. And will always have you in the right stocks. Free for 10 days. Check it out. 877-600-GANG. Or go to my site, philsgang.com, and sign up for Working Investor Group.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me to make